And we are back. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode number 3 of Noel's podcast. I am the host, Noel Tesfa. Peace and blessings to all the good people who are tuned in. Wishing you guys a safe, healthy, and prosperous start to your week. To my listeners who are college/university students, I know exam season is wrapping up. If you're done already, shout out to you. Another year in the books. Congrats. If you're done for good and you are graduating this semester, extra shout out to you. That's a major accomplishment. You should be super proud of yourselves. And to the people who might have maybe 1 or 2 exams left, I don't know how some of your school schedules work, but if you got 1 or 2 or a few exams left, lock in. All right, you're almost there. Do not let up now. Just stay focused. You got this. I believe in you. And good luck on your exams. Go body that. To my listeners who are in the workforce, no matter what line of work you're in, it's always a big shout out to you guys. I know you're out there. You're getting to it. You're getting after it, working hard. It's not always easy, especially at the beginning of the work week. But I know you guys are out there putting in work. And I pray that you guys reap the benefits and rewards that your hard work warrants. Now let's get into the episode. Got another good one lined up for you guys today. We are talking Pistons Magic Game 4. Pistons looking like a very fraudulent number 1 seed right now. Pains me to say I picked them to go to the finals, and looks like they're about to get bounced out in the first round. So we got to talk about that. Next, we going to talk Denver, Minnesota. The Nuggets hold off the Timberwolves, avoid elimination, at least for now. We'll see what happens in Game 6 at Minnesota. But we're going to talk a little Game 5 between those two teams. And then I know you guys, or at least some of you guys, are eager to hear my thoughts on the LA versus Houston series. It was a very wild weekend for myself being a Rockets fan. So I had to gather my thoughts. I didn't want to just come on here and say something that I would regret in the future. So now that my thoughts are gathered, I'm going to share those with you later on in the episode. So if you want to hear that, stick around. And the last thing that we're going to do for today is, I know last episode I told you guys I was going to give like a top 5 list of the players who I feel have the most to gain if they won a championship this year. We're going to scrap that. And instead, we're going to do a tier list of the 2021 NBA draft. A lot of the players in that draft are hooping. They inspired me the way that they were playing over the weekend. So I'm like, all right, we'll do a tier list from the best player to like decent role players and then everything in between. So if you want to hear that part, stick around to the very end of the episode. But yeah, this is going to be a good one. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do enjoy the episode, remember, like, comment, subscribe. Share, repost, follow on all social media platforms. Just keep interacting. If you know me, I've never been the type of guy to beg. Just not my personality. I've never been a begging type of dude. However, I do want this podcast to be as successful as possible. So if you guys enjoy this, if you're messing with the episodes, let people know, spread the word, not only on the internet, but in real life. Again, I want this podcast to reach as many eyes and ears and people as possible. So please, if y'all can do me that solid, it would mean a lot. Oh, by the way, what we're not covering on today's episode is the breakup between Klay Thompson and Megan Thee Stallion. So if you want to hear what I think about that, I hate to break it to you, I don't really care. So, if you want to hear more on that, go to TMZ. But without further ado, let's get into today's episode. First game we got to talk about, Magic Pistons Game 4 in Orlando. Orlando takes the W 94-88. They take a commanding 3-1 series lead against the number one team in the Eastern Conference, the Detroit Pistons. Now for context, I think only 13 teams in the history of the NBA have ever come back from being down 3-1 in a series. So already Detroit, the odds are not in their favor in the slightest. And then you want to add on top of that, the Pistons would become the only the ninth team in the history of basketball to lose as being the number one seed and losing to an 8 seed in the first round of the playoffs. So now the pressure is all on them. Game 5 in Detroit. But how did we get here? So in Game 4, first quarter, Pistons come out with no energy, no fight. It looked like they were the team that was up 2-1 instead of being down 2-1. The Magic fans, the crowd, they were into it. Orlando was forcing turnovers. They were getting out in transition, getting threes, getting easy baskets. They took an early lead in that first quarter, and I'm not going to lie, I thought it was going to be a blowout. I thought this game was wraps. The Pistons looked disinterested, and I didn't think I was going to have much to say about this game. However, law of averages played out. Magic started missing shots. Detroit started making shots. Their defense was playing better. And the Pistons eventually take a 1-point lead at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter starts. Isaiah Stewart comes in for Detroit. He was their best, or not their best, but their second best player in this game by far. I don't care how many points he had. I don't even know how many points he had. But his impact on the defensive end, his energy that he brought, definitely catapulted the Pistons in that second quarter. He had 3 or 4 blocks. And Detroit ended up taking a double-digit lead. They were up by 10 in that second quarter. But Orlando comes back. They go on a run towards the end of the quarter. And Magic take a 2-point lead at halftime. All right, so both teams each had a double-digit lead in the first half of this game. And they both give those up on runs in both quarters. All right. Halftime comes. This is my thought. I'm like, okay, it's very obvious that neither team can score in the half court. All right. Their offense is not producing. Guys aren't hitting shots. So it's going to come down to who can play defense the best, essentially, and whose defense can lead to offense in transition, and then who can make a few more threes. That's who is going to win the game. And that's what happened. Third quarter starts. The Pistons basically started the third quarter how they started the first quarter. No energy, low effort, a lot of turnovers by Cade. Magic were getting a lot of stuff at the rim, getting easy shots. And Detroit was fouling a lot early. So the Magic got into the bonus. So even though that they weren't hitting shots as much, they were still getting points because they were getting to the free throw line due to them being in the bonus. All right. So, but still, the game was rather close. It's 4, 6, 8-point game the whole time. Not a big difference. And Orlando has the lead going into the fourth quarter. So at this point, it's like, okay, Cade Cunningham has to be Superman for his team to win. Like, he has to hit all the shots in the clutch, or else, because nobody else is producing on offense for Detroit. And unfortunately for the Pistons, Cade just wasn't good enough. He wasn't hitting enough shots. Desmond Bane hit a big 3 the dude banked the 3. All right. I mean, it still counts, but it was a bank. So Desmond Bane banks in a 3 with like 50 seconds left in the game. Orlando goes up by 6, and that is the ball game. Magic up 3-1 in this series. So these are my overall thoughts, mostly about the Detroit Pistons. Number one, they just don't have enough consistent threats on offense besides Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham is one of the best players in the whole NBA, MVP candidate, and he is like a savant in the pick and roll game. All right. He makes perfect reads off the pick and roll. That's their best offense. Either that or when he's coming off a weak side screen, curling, catching the ball on the catch, and then going to the rim and trying to make a play for himself or someone else. That's the Pistons' best offense. When he's not doing that, they can't score at all. I mean, Jalen Duren is their second best player. He might make second team All NBA this year. He's in a contract year. It looked like he was about to get a lot of money in the summer. And this has just been a really, really bad series for him. The Magic are exposing him they're basically exposing his offensive deficiencies. He doesn't have a face-up game. He showed a little bit of mid-range prowess during the regular season, but none of that has showed in the playoffs. He's not getting lobs as frequently as he did during the regular season from Cade. And he's basically been almost a zero on offense. Hasn't been that great on defense. Only grabbing like 7-8 rebounds a game, which is fine. But this guy was a double-double machine, 20 and 10 the whole year. And he has regressed a lot in this series. And it might cost him a lot of money. We'll see. Duncan Robinson always ends up becoming MIA in the playoffs. No pun intended. But this is one of the best shooters in the whole league. And every year, like clockwork, he just forgets how to shoot. I think he was 1 for 5 from the 3-point line today or in the last game. So if he's not hitting shots, if Duren is not doing what he did in the regular season, Asar Thompson is a monster on defense, but he's a zero on offense. He goes away from the basket when he dribbles. Right? He has no mid-range game. The defense does not view him as any type of threat on offense. And when you combine all those things, it creates very bad spacing for Cade Cunningham to operate in the half court, and that's why it's been challenging for him. Even though he's averaging like 30 in this series, it's been tough in the half court because all the eyes are looking at him, and driving lanes are much more narrow because they're coming off of the rest of the Pistons players because nobody can hit a shot. So it makes you think like, wow, you're seeing what Ayo Dosunmu is doing in these playoffs. You saw what Kobe White did in the play-in tournament, even though Charlotte got bounced out. Who else? CJ McCollum, what he's doing in these playoffs. And you're like, Detroit probably could have had any one of these guys to help take the pressure off of Cade and be someone that can help him on offense. But they didn't go do that, and now they're facing the consequences of this, and they're about to get kicked out of the playoffs in the first round and being like the 9th team in history to do that as a number 1 seed. So it's going to be an interesting off season for the Pistons. They got to make a decision with Duren, how much money they're going to pay him. They have to find a way to get another offensive player to help Cade in moments like this. I don't know who's going to be available, but front office has to find someone because, again, this is the same thing is going to keep happening for the Pistons no matter what. It doesn't matter how good they look in the regular season. They're going to get exposed every year in the playoffs if they don't have somebody else to score besides Cade Cunningham. But for Orlando, I mean, I know I've talked more about what Detroit's not doing than more than what Orlando is doing. So I'll give the Magic credit. 2 weeks ago, I thought these guys were going to get swept. I didn't even think they were going to make the playoffs. They lost to the Celtics, like not even B team. They lost to the Celtics C team in the last day of the regular season. But the turnaround they've made in just 2 weeks, being up 3-1 as a number 8 seed against the Pistons. Their offense isn't great, but they do have players that can get a bucket, whether that be Paolo, Desmond Bain. Franz has been good when he hasn't been hurt. So do I think the Magic can win another round or two? No chance. I mean, maybe if they play Toronto in the second round, we'll see what happens between Toronto and Cleveland. But they still can't compete with like a Boston or a New York. But they have been playing well. This is what people thought Orlando was going to look like at the beginning of the season. So for them to finally catch their stride, good for them. But I don't know. I don't know how far they can go. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Pistons versus Magic series. Game 5 in Detroit. Pistons are in a do or die situation from here on out. Do I think they can come back from 3-1? It's possible, but highly, highly unlikely just because I don't think their offense can find a way to outscore Orlando in 3 straight games. I don't know. I just don't believe in it. So tough way to end a really good regular season for the Pistons. Won 60 games, but this is going to be a tough way to go out, and stuff has to happen in the off season if they don't want this to happen again. All right, now let's get into Denver versus Minnesota. Nuggets win Game 5, final score 125-113. They avoid elimination. Timberwolves are still up in the series 3-2. Game 6 will be back in Minnesota. And I don't have too many thoughts on this game. Jokic just dominated, not only by scoring, he had 27 points, but the way he facilitated, got his teammates involved in transition in the half court. He had 16 assists, 27 points, 12 rebounds, 16 assists. Regular Jokic game, but this has been a really tough series for him, so he needed this game. He needed this win. But I still don't trust Denver. They might win this series just because of all the injuries for Minnesota, but I do not trust the Nuggets. I still think their defense is very flawed. No Aaron Gordon in the game. Spencer Jones came in as his replacement, went crazy in the third quarter, 3 for 3 from the three-point line, 11 points. And that was basically the difference in this game. The Timberwolves kept it close for the most part, but in that third quarter, those Jones threes, Jamal Murray was getting to the basket, and the Nuggets offense looked like the regular Nuggets offense with Jokic facilitating. But I still do not think, even if they get past this series and they beat Minnesota, an injured Minnesota team, they don't have no chance in hell in beating San Antonio in the next round. Not even a puncher's chance I would give them. And I know Jokic is so great that he should have a chance against anyone. But after what I've seen with Gobert and how he's guarded him in this series and how great he has to be on offense just for his team to have a chance, I don't think they could get it done against San Antonio. I never thought they could get it done, but I think it will be a quick series if they play the Spurs. And that's if they get past the Timberwolves. They're still down 3-2. Got to win 2 more games. That game 4 in Minnesota was really alarming. If you are a Nuggets fan, what Ayo Dosunmu did to them after Anthony Edwards got injured, Dosunmu with a career high 42 points in the playoffs. Only like the third guy to do that off the bench in NBA history. So the Nuggets just can't guard. They can't guard guards specifically. So unless you tell me Jokic is going to average 50 points, 20 rebounds, and 30 assists against the Spurs, sorry, Nuggets fans, it's over for you. I know I said this earlier. I talked about this in previous episodes, but at least you got the win last night. you extended the series, but you know and I know the Nuggets aren't really going anywhere this year, and maybe not even ever for the rest, at least for the rest of Joker's prime, just because of the youth of San Antonio and OKC. But yeah, just quick thoughts on that game. OKC sweeps Phoenix. I know I haven't talked much about the Thunder since the podcast started, but the biggest reason for that is because one, they their games aren't really that entertaining because they're blowing out the Suns. And two, I know they're going to make it very far in the playoffs, so we have a lot more time to talk about them. Don't worry. I wouldn't say I'm a Thunder fan, but like I am low key. I love Shea is one of my favorite players. But yeah, they sweep the Suns last night. Final score 131-122. Shea averages 34 points in this series on like 55% shooting. That is the best player in the world. Best basketball player in the world. I don't want to hear it as a debate anymore, especially considering how Jokic has played as of late. Shea has just been steady, 35, 40 points every game. So until someone knocks him off that pedestal, that's the best basketball player in the world. For Phoenix, it was a tough series for Devin Booker. I mean, this is probably the worst matchup that they could have had for him. There's just too many dogs on defense for OKC at the guard position, and then you have Chet manning the middle. It's just so what? Book averaged 21 in this game or in this series, 46% field goal percentage, 33% from three. It's just tough. I love Devin Booker, one of the best, most polished games you'll ever watch. But this was a successful year for Phoenix, nonetheless. They got swept in the playoffs, but nobody even thought they were going to be there. So shout out to them. Now, what you've all been waiting for, my thoughts on Houston versus LA. Houston down in this series 3-1. Game 3, one of the biggest collapses I've ever witnessed in my time watching the NBA. Rockets up 6 points, 30 seconds to go. Somehow turned the ball over twice. They foul a three-point shooter. They let LeBron hit a three to send the game into overtime. It was I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys right now. I needed LeBron to score 29 points for a bet to cash, and that three he hit got him to 29 points. So I wasn't completely depressed. But if that bet did not exist, I probably wouldn't even be talking to you guys right now. It's probably still be in recovery mode. However, they lost. They're down 3-0 in the series. No team in NBA history has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit ever. Then Sunday happens. Rockets blow out the Lakers 115-96. LeBron looked tired. Kennard and Smart did not shoot the ball well at all. Every player on the Rockets or every starter on the Rockets had 15 plus points. And it just got me thinking, because I definitely got a lot of texts, a lot of calls over that, especially after that game 3, like, yo, what's going on? Why are you so silent? You better talk about this on the pod. Rockets are done. KD's cooked. Blah, 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 blah. KD didn't even play. But still, you know how trolls are. But then the Rockets blow out the Lakers, and I'm thinking, I know no team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit ever in basketball, in the NBA. But in my brain, I'm like, no team has ever been up 3-0 and been less talented than this Lakers team. I know they've been playing well. JJ Redick has been coaching circles around Ime Udoka. But still, when we talk about talent, as good as Smart has played, as good as Kennard has played, it's LeBron and then a bunch of guys, a bunch of role players. And LeBron at 41. So game 5 is when? Tomorrow? All I'll say is this, and I don't want to sound like Kendrick Perkins, but if the Lakers do not win game 5 at home in Los Angeles, it's going to get real scary really fast because LeBron looked tired in that game 4, and he's only going to get more tired and more fatigued if the series just keeps going further and further. Austin Reeves might come back, but I don't know how healthy he'll be. No Luka Doncic. And if the series extends, more time for KD to come back. You know what? I'm just going to say it. And I might sound like an idiot if the Rockets lose on Wednesday, but I'm claiming it. The Houston Rockets are going to be the first team to come back from a 3-0 deficit in NBA history. They're going to win game 5 in Los Angeles. They're going to come back home to Houston in game 6. And they're going to win that. They're going to blow them out like they did in game 4. And then game 7, everything on the line in LA. Rockets come out with the W. That's my prediction. And I'm standing on it. Now, it completely contradicts what I said in my first episode about being a Rockets fan and how stressful it's been and how I don't really believe in this team as much, but I don't care. Momentum is a scary thing in the NBA. The Rockets have the momentum. The pressure is on LA to win and close it out in game 5. So if they don't do that and they go back to Houston for a game 6, it's going to look scary. And if that happens, if the Rockets come back down from 3-0, insufferable won't even be the word to describe how I am going to be. Like, it will be an understatement. This podcast is going to go viral so quick. If the Rockets come back down from 3-0, I'm about to be, let me chill. Let's just get game 5 first, and then we'll see what happens. But all you Laker fans that just be on my line all the time, just chill, all right? KD hasn't played in 3 out of the 4 games. I know Luka and Austin Reeves are injured, but still, like, just stop blowing my line. Like, it's annoying. And it's not even Lakers fans, bro. It's LeBron fans. But I'm not going to get into that. Let me chill. But that's what I think about the Rockets-Lakers series. I think the Rockets are going to make a comeback. They have all the momentum. And God, please don't make me look stupid after I post this. Please. Please. Because I'm about to get flamed if these boys lose in 5. But they got this. All right? I'm not going to give my thoughts on the rest of the series because just for time restrictions, Boston's up 3-1 on Philly. They're going to close that out. Atlanta, New York is 2-2. So that's going to be a good one. And then San Antonio's up 3-1 on Portland. They're about to get them out of here. Cleveland, Toronto, 2-2. And I like the way Toronto played while they were back home. Scotty Barnes especially. Scotty Barnes is one of the reasons that inspired the next segment for the 2021 NBA draft tier list. So Raptors are up. Well, they're not up, but they're up figuratively. 2-2 going back to Cleveland. They could take the W. Cleveland's on the ropes. We'll see. Shout out to playoff James Harden. Never disappoints. Always shows up. And by shows up, I mean has some of the worst games you'll ever see by an all-time great player in playoff history. But not too much on him for now. Now let's get into the final part of today's episode. which is the tier list of the 2021 NBA draft. I haven't seen anyone do like a redraft of this particular draft just because it wasn't too long ago, 5 years ago now. So this is going to be the first time, or at least that I've heard someone do this. I'm excited. I put some work into this, so I hope you guys enjoy. And yeah, let's just get into it. The 2021 NBA draft tier list according to yours truly. Now, the first level, tier 1, highest tier, is the MVP caliber, best player on a championship level team caliber player. And only one person from this draft fits that category, and that player is Cade Cunningham. Now, I talked a little bit about Cade earlier on in the episode when we discussed Pistons versus Magic. And despite how bad the Pistons have looked in the playoffs, Cade has still been amazing, averaging nearly 30 points a game, still getting double-digit assists. And he has been the only person to show up for Detroit in these playoffs. But not only in the playoffs, in the regular season, he took that leap, became a top 5 candidate for MVP, led his team to the number 1 seed. And I know I said championship level, best player on a championship level team. Obviously, Detroit isn't that this year. But I still think if you surround Cade, if you give Cade one more scoring type of player to pair beside him, it doesn't even have to be someone better, just someone who could score, he can lead a team to a championship. That's how I feel about him. So that's why he goes at the top of this list. Again, just a breakout year. He might make first team All NBA this year. We'll see. He's like fringe. It'll be between him and Jaylen Brown. But yeah, he was the number 1 pick in this draft. Obviously, Detroit got it right. He's kind of like the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Eastern Conference. He's not as good as Shai, obviously, but he's a lead guard, a big guard, gets his teammates involved, can score the ball. The only thing is Shai is a little bit better shooter than Cade and like more efficient and more consistent. But Cade is that caliber of player, or at least he can get there. So that's why I have him at the top of the list. I don't think anybody is actually even close to him in his draft class. So he goes at the top tier, MVP caliber player. The next tier that I have, the second tier, is the All NBA level players. These are guys who either made All NBA before or will make it this year. And it's 3 players. All right. We have Scotty Barnes, who is the main reason why I wanted to do this tier list. We'll get into him. Pause. Jalen Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks, and Evan Mobley, who I was hesitant to put on this tier. However, he made All NBA second team last year, and he won Defensive Player of the Year. So he has to be on this level with Johnson and Barnes. Let's start with Scotty. Obviously, I'm from Toronto, Raptors hometown team. So I've seen Scotty Barnes' career, not only from when he got into the NBA, but I've been following Scotty Barnes since he went to the university school in Florida, transferred to Montverde, went to Florida State for college, and then drafted to Toronto. So I've seen this guy's career. He's always been a top level prospect. He's always been at the top of his class. A very versatile defender, versatile player, can play make, can score, can rebound. He's a do everything type of player. And he actually won Rookie of the Year for this class. It was between him and Cade, and Scotty won in the 2021-2022 season. So he won Rookie of the Year, looked promising. The Raptors made the playoffs that year. But since then, he had a few injury-riddled seasons, missed some time. The Raptors were terrible the past few seasons. So he wasn't getting that recognition, even though he's put up good stats every year. However, this year, he led the Raptors to being a top 5 defensive team in the whole NBA, and he was the main catalyst for that. He anchored their defense, one of the best defenders in the whole NBA, still averaged around 18 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Like, he does everything, like I said. But now that the Raptors are winning, he just led. He's been amazing in these playoffs against Cleveland, especially in the last 2 games in Toronto. And now he's getting more mainstream recognition, including by people like me, even though I'm not mainstream, but you know what I'm saying. So Barnes, if you were to ask me, like, if I were to have made these tiers at the beginning of the year, Scotty was not going to be in this tier. Probably even not even Jalen Johnson. Maybe Şengün and Mobley would have been in this tier, but he elevated his game, even though his stats are pretty much like the same in previous years. He's just elevated his game, especially in the playoffs, and that's why he has to be on tier 2. Jalen Johnson, same thing. The last 2 years, he's taken a big step. He is the Hawks traded Trae Young in the middle of the season. They handed him the keys. He is their best player. And like Scotty Barnes, he's just an all-around guy. Triple-double threat, scores, rebounds, assists, plays defense. Not the consistent jump shooter that I would like him to be at this moment, but still, he's probably going to make a third-team All-NBA. So had to put him on this tier. And then last is Evan Mobley. I spoke on him earlier. He made a second-team All-NBA last year, Defensive Player of the Year. He's good and he's consistent, but he hasn't improved as much as people thought he would. And his offensive game is still not as refined as you would hope it would be at this point in his career. He can hit a 3-point shot occasionally. He can do a little face-up action, but it's been a little underwhelming. However, he is still an elite defensive player, former Defensive Player of the Year. So he has to go in this tier with Scotty and Jalen Johnson. The next tier I have is all-star caliber players. In this tier, I have 3 guys as well. Şengün, Alperen Şengün, Josh Giddey, which will be a controversial one, and Franz Wagner. Now, I'm not going to lie, Şengün has regressed because I thought he would be in the tier 2 level with Barnes, Johnson, and Mobley, but I feel like he took a step back this year. He just was very inconsistent on offense. He is terrible on defense. Like I said, I'm a Rockets fan, so I watched him play almost every game. And too many times he just drove me crazy. However, he's still an all-star. He made the all-star team the last 2 years. So this is like the baseline for him. Can he get to all-NBA level player? We'll see. But for now, this is where he's at. Josh Giddey. I might be a little biased with Giddey because I've had him on fantasy teams in the last 2 years, and he puts up stats. I mean, the Bulls are terrible. They've been like the definition of below average for almost a decade now. But Giddey puts up stats. I think he can contribute to winning. It's a bad situation for him in Chicago, but he has the ball a lot, which is good for him. And he puts up rebounds, assists. His 3-point shot got better this year. And I just feel like he's going to be an all-star eventually. I don't think he'll be a perennial all-star like consistently, but I think he'll make an all-star game or two, especially if he stays in the Eastern Conference and he stays healthy and he puts up the numbers that he's been putting up. All right. And then same thing with Franz. Franz is actually, he's better than Giddey, and he probably would have made the all-star team at least once over the last 2 years. It's just he's been injured a lot. But as a player, he's just huge, 6'9", 6'10", can bully guys as he's showing in the Pistons series. can get to the rim, has a little bit of a mid-range shot, needs to be more consistent from three. But I think if Franz stays in the East, and I don't know what Orlando's going to do with Paolo, we'll see how the rest of the playoffs go. But I think Franz can make one or two or maybe multiple all-star games. He just has to continue to get better, and he has to stay healthy, most importantly. So that's the all-star level tier. The next tier I have, tier 4. Not a star, but better than a role player. And I have two guys for this. I have Trey Murphy from New Orleans and Jalen Green of the Phoenix Suns. Now, with Trey Murphy, it's weird because he's basically been in basketball purgatory since he's been in the NBA. New Orleans is, I'm sorry to say this, but they are a poverty franchise, and the whole Zion situation, it's bad. However, he has been the one bright spot for them year in and year out. When he's not injured, he can average 20. He's averaged 20. He's a sniper from three, like very underrated sniper from three. I had a joke with one of my homies where I would just be like, past few years, I would text him and be like, yo, I've never seen Trey Murphy miss a 3-point shot. I don't know. There was like a point where every shot he took, it felt like it went in. But this guy's athletic. He's long. He gets to the rim. He can punch it on you. He's good defensively. And I feel like, I don't know if he might be able to be an all-star one day, but I think his best, I think what will be best for him is to be on a really good team and like play as an elevated role player, if you know what I'm saying. Like I said, this is not a star, but not a role player, but like this is like an above average role player. He can score, he can defend. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he gets out of New Orleans and he gets on a good team so more people can watch him play. But I'm a big fan of Trey Murphy's game. And yeah, he has to be on this tier. Same thing with Jalen Green. Green is different. His pedigree is higher. He was the second pick in the draft, traded from Houston to Phoenix this year in the Kevin Durant trade. And Jalen Green is weird because he has nights where he looks like one of the best scorers in the NBA. He's explosive. When he gets hot, he doesn't miss. As you saw in the playing games, what did he do? He averaged like almost 40 in those playing games against the Warriors and Portland. So he's good. He's just super inconsistent. He's very inconsistent. He's not good on defense. And there's a reason that Houston traded him. I know they were getting Kevin Durant in the trade, but there's a reason they traded him. So for him, it's just being consistent. He's not going to be one of your two best players on a championship team, but do I think he could be like a heat check guy either off the bench or in your starting lineup for a really good team? Of course. He's too talented not to. But for him, it's just about putting it together. We'll see. He had a good year. He had an okay year in Phoenix. It was up and down. He was injured a lot, but he's definitely at least a tier 4 player in this draft and maybe could be higher, but I don't see it. So Jalen Green, Trey Murphy, tier 4. Now we'll quickly go through tier 5 and tier 6. Tier 5, I had the really good role players, which is Jalen Suggs, Ayo Dosunmu, and Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga was the hardest guy to put on here because he's just been really up and down. If he was still on the Warriors, I wouldn't have had him on the list at all. But he's been pretty good for Atlanta when he plays. Dosunmu, man, what a jump. Because he was always like good in Chicago, but like I said about Josh Giddey, Chicago has just been really bad for a long time. So like if you're a six man on a bad team, how good are you? But what he showed for Minnesota, especially in these past few games, dropping 40 against Denver, this guy is an amazing role player. He's someone that a bunch of teams should have targeted during the trade deadline. Minnesota got him. It's looking like the best acquisition of the whole season. And yeah, just huge shout out to him. We'll see. We'll see if he can help get Minnesota over Denver. I'm a huge fan of his game. Can shoot, can defend, can get to the rim. Like he's just a really talented player. So I have to have him on the really good role players list. Jalen Suggs, again, one of the best guard defenders that we have in the NBA. He's another reason why the Magic are up 3-1 against Detroit. So, yeah, he's just been really good for his role and what he does. Play defense, hit threes, and just be the energy guy. And that's why he's a big reason why Orlando has been in the playoffs over the last 3 years. And finally, tier 6, we're not going to get too much into these players. I have Moses Moody for Golden State, Davion Mitchell, Miami, Quentin Grimes, Philly, Aaron Wiggins for OKC, Deuce McBride for New York, Neemias Queta for Boston, and Herb Jones for New Orleans. Now, all these guys have had flashes of being really good for their teams. Moody for Golden State, even though he got injured, has been a pretty good 3-and-D guy for them. Davion Mitchell, again, he's just a dog on defense. He really embodies what Miami means, or the Heat organization. Culture-wise, Davion Mitchell embodies that. Just defense, toughness. He just can't really shoot that much. Quentin Grimes, when guys have been out for Philly, he stepped up in a scoring role. His handle is a little bit shaky. His jump shot is pretty pure, but sometimes it comes and goes. So he's good, but, just a little inconsistent. Aaron Wiggins for OKC. I mean, he was in the rotation when they won the championship last year. So that alone, and he provides, he hits threes, he plays defense. So that alone has to put you in this tier at least. Miles McBride for New York, just another heat check guy off the bench. When he gets hot from three, it really energizes the Knicks fans. He's a fan favorite over there, so got to have him. Neemias Queta for Boston. Before this year, he definitely wouldn't have been on the list, but what he's done as the starting center for the Celtics, he's been a big part and a big reason why they were able to be the second seed even without Jason Tatum in the lineup. So have to have him. And finally, Herb Jones for New Orleans. Just a really good defender. I won't say one of the best, but just a high level perimeter defender. Not really that good on offense, but him and Trey Murphy have been bright spots for that team. Herb a little bit more injury prone, but again, good role player. So yeah, that's the tier list of the 2021 NBA draft. I know it went a little bit long, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Episode number 3 in the books for Noel's podcast. Make sure you guys tap in. Episode 4 coming later on this week. Watch some basketball. Continue to show love. I'm going to try to get better and provide the best content that I can for you guys. Just keep rocking with me. All right, I'm out. Y'all enjoy, and I'll see you soon.